Hey guys, welcome to the shop. If you've visited the channel more than once in the last 3 months, you already know what we're working on this week. So let's not waste any time and get started. Alright, so let's take a quick look at the parts we're going to be making this week. It's two simple brackets, 1.5 inch wide, 3/8 of an inch thick, probably 8 inches long. These are the parts that this block slides on. Allows us to adjust the blade tension and blade tracking on the ReDo-All bandsaw. They got some substantial wear on them, so I might as well replace them. They mount to this bracket right here. So to make these, we're going to be using the horizontal mill, shaper, surface grinder, and there's a drill press in there somewhere. Shop supervisor's been looking over my shoulder the whole week, so these are made to the highest standards. So let's just knock these out real quick and get one step closer to being done with this massive project. So I'm set up on the K&T mill here with a 6-inch slitting saw. It's an 1/8 of an inch wide. This is an 1.5 inch arbor. What I need is 2 strips of steel that are 1.5 inch wide by 3/8 of an inch thick, and they need to be pretty accurate to by the thickness anyway. So all I have, other than some hot rolled 3/8 plate that by the time you remove the mill scale is less than 3/8 of an inch thick, is this piece of 1/2 inch hot rolled that come out of the scrap pile from the ReDo-All saw. So we're going to be recycling some of its old parts back into it to make some new ones. I'm going to use the K&T mill here to cut these strips simply because that's what I want to do. And we'll use the cutting oil system too, because we can. So let's get this going. We'll start off slow and then work it up. So despite all of the trouble that I've had with this K&T mill's coolant system, the oil pump on this thing, it's been working pretty much trouble-free. Every time I've went to use it, it's worked. Put a check valve in line on the pickup, and so far so good. But I do have plans for a more permanent repair that we'll do in a future video coming up, hopefully soon. Working really good. Kind of slow, 7/8 of an inch per minute on the feed rate and 50 RPM. So there's an inch a minute. So there's 2 inches a minute on the feed. I've been bumping it up slowly. It's doing just fine. I love the finish this slitting saw gives. That kind of crosshatch cut. Looks good. No extra finishing required. Cutting oil is messy, but it's extremely effective, that's for sure. I should have set this up on some blocks, that way I could, just step over instead of having to take it loose and then re-indicate it in. But my clamps are always an issue with horizontal setup. There's just no clearance really. So let me get set up. I got some tools I want to show you anyway that was sent into the channel. And we'll indicate this in and cut our other two sections out of this. So every time I turn the camera on, it starts raining. That's the noise you hear in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. Here's the part that we're making. Just a simple piece. Got some 3/8 16 clearance holes, or 3/8 16 bolts. So 1.5 wide, and that's not critical on these because of just clip for those clearance holes. What is that? 32 millimeters. And then our thickness is what's important on this. 3/8 of an inch thick is what we want. That's 9.5 millimeters thick. That's the critical dimension. And cutting it to length's not a big deal. So let's go get set up. Let's slit this other one off, then I'll do another one off camera, and we'll drill the holes. So here I'm just using the side of the slitting saw, touching it off the edge that I cut first. Basically using it like an edge finder really. I'll come over the thickness of the slitting saw, and then also the thickness of the part that I want to cut off. I'm using my dial indicator here on a mag base, along with the dials on the machine. Just make sure I get a good measurement. So since I've had this machine, I really haven't done much slitting with it at all. Most of the time I'll just use the bandsaw. I was really surprised at how accurate the parts came off, considering I'm just touching off the side with a slitting saw that's not absolutely straight. The two pieces that I cut easily come off within a few thou of each other, which is perfectly acceptable for what I needed. So I was really happy with the results. So this is my very, very well used Noga stand. If you've watched the channel for any amount of time over the last year or two, you've seen it. Now I bought it pretty much wore out and been using it ever since. It's great. Once you start using one of these articulating arms, you do not want to go back to the straight style stands. They're just so nice. I mean, when you put them somewhere, they stay unless they are wore out. But this one's starting to develop some problems. The end here, which is some sort of glass fiber reinforced plastic. It's the old style. The dovetails wore out of it. I really got to crank this nut down to hold my test indicators, and it's starting to develop some weakness in the arm, and it just wore out. I mean, that's basically all I can say. It's just well used and wore out, but awesome. So I contacted Noga. I told them I was also interested in a camera stand. The camera that you're watching me through right now is a big, heavy Canon. It takes great video, but it's pretty much tripod only unless you have a very rigid stand to hook it to, something with a strong base and a strong arm. So contacted Noga, talked to Abby, told them what I was interested in. Said no problem at all, we'll put you together a care package and send it out to you, and they did. So I got it in. I want to show you what they sent because it really nice stuff. They even sent stuff that I didn't ask for, which was nice. So let me show you what they sent. We'll dial this shaper vise in and peel off this horribly hard mill scale, and then try to finish these up real quick. So let me show you what they sent. Definitely some nice stuff. So Noga sent me several things, some of which I didn't ask for or didn't expect, and I really appreciate it. The main thing that they sent is the 2 indicator stands. One is just a replacement for the one that I've already have, same dimensionally. I've got this one at work, and I use it about every day, and I've had no problems with it at all. It's just definitely a great stand. I chose just to get the fine adjust out on the end. They sell this model with the fine adjust on the base or on the end, or I guess, or both. But I prefer it just out on the end. But yeah, same stand as I had before, just updated version. They sent me this arm, not the base or the GoPro, of course. This is called a Holdat Arm, which I wasn't aware that they even made, but they sent me a big catalog too, and have a lot of products. I guess this is targeted toward holding like a safety shield or lights, camera, anything you can imagine, really. Not really targeted, I don't guess, towards indicating, but I'm using it to hold my GoPro at the moment. So that was nice of them. A little heavier built, seems to be, than standard arms, probably for just holding heavier things. The largest item that they sent is this big boy stand. I guess that's what it's called. And definitely a heavy built stand. It's all steel other than the adjustment knob. It probably weighs 5 pounds, I'm guessing. Big magnet. This is what I'm going to use to hold my camera. And it would probably hold 4 cameras, as strong as it is. They sent me the indicating end for it, so if I wanted to use it for long reach indication, I can do that. But my use is probably going to be camera, so they sent me this adapter to hold my cameras and stuff. So I really appreciate that. Definitely a nice stand. I've seen these around. I've never owned one until now, and I'm surprised at how heavy built they are. Not what you would think. They're definitely not a flimsy item. They sent me a Noga Mini Cool, which was a surprise because I already have one of these, but I don't guess it hurts to have 2. Put one on the lathe and use one on the mill. But these are really nice. Adam Booth showed using one that has the 2 spray nozzles, and I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, nice little Noga Mini Cool to add to the collection. Here's my old stand that I use for my camera. Definitely lacking. It's kind of like a springboard. Just shop made, something that would work. And this just was giving me a lot of vibration and stuff. It was showing through in the film, and I didn't like that. So contacted them, and they hooked me up for sure. That's going to work great, I think. And then they sent me some deburring tools. They sent me a little promotional set, which I'll probably give away. And then they sent me a whole kit of their deburring tools, which I think probably all of us are familiar with. Pretty much anything you're going to deburr or need to deburr, this covers it. So really nice case, and these are the ones that all extend, so you can get deep down into a part to deburr it if you need to. So that's it. Thank you, Noga. I really appreciate it. That is some great stuff, and you guys will see me using it around the shop. A nice little scraper. So, there you go. Pick you up something from Noga. Their tools are great. I think we all know that. So, there you go. Thank you. Appreciate that. So I've got the shaper set up here. I need to peel off this meal scale. I've got 1/8 of an inch of material that I need to remove from these. I'm going to remove 120 thousandths and then clean them up in the grinder. But this is just the most economical way to clean up meal scale. That stuff's hard on any cutter you use. So I'm running 64 strokes a minute. I think it's 97 surface feet per minute. 10 thousandths of an inch per stroke. 25 thousandths depth of cut. So a lot of people have been asking, when am I going to bring this thing inside the shop? You know, soon, I hope. Maybe in the next month or so. I'm actually got a spot cleaned out to put it. And I really need to get it in there now because I want to pull the actual saw itself off of the base, I guess, because there's so much junk underneath it. I mean, why not? You know, I've already done everything else. And it's starting to get light enough to where I can actually move it. This thing is ridiculously heavy, so it has been moving in the shop one piece at a time, in case you haven't noticed. That's the deal. Just easier, better lighting out here for me to clean, and I don't get the shop all filthy, and it's not hurting anything sitting out here. It gets covered, so hopefully soon. That's the plan anyway. So I'm missing a knob. I'm assuming this one's factory. Maybe somebody who's interested could cast me one of those. I think it's cast iron, but I wouldn't care even if it was aluminum. I don't have any way to cast. Need to get these big blade guides off. I guess clean them up. That's 20 pounds. So here I'm using the surface grinder to remove the, I think it was like 3/1000ths that I left on these parts after I pulled them off the shaper. Here I'm just setting the end stops. This machine's automatic, so table moves back and forth, it automatically advances. The only thing on this machine that's not automatic is your height adjustment, or the real height. So every pass you do have to tweak that, but other than that, you can pretty much walk away and do something else while it makes a pass. And I just recently changed my coolant, so it's good and clean. So having this machine definitely changed the way I worked around the shop. Just nice to be able to work on hardened material and grind things to within 1/1000th easy, even on a machine that's not, you know, in the best of shape in the world. That should be it. I'm not going after a great finish. And I didn't get it, you know, mild steel or low carbon steel. I never had much luck getting a great finish on this stuff, you know, the grinder. Oh, get off there. Should be good enough, I think. So just cut to fit the slot. Should be good. There's a little wear in the slot, but not much. I think most of the wear is on these plates, but nothing special about these. You know, they're just rough sawed cut and some holes drilled in some cold rolled plate. So, you know, they don't have to be crazy accurate. There we go. That finish could have been better, but I just need to cut them to length. That's it. So I'm going to mark them and cut them on the mill just real quick. So they're cut to length. Now I just got to transfer the holes. Just going to keep it simple. Just line them up here on the surface plate. A couple little the Starrett Toolmaker's clamps to hold them together. Then I'll just take them to the vise and use my expanding center punches to make my marks. Then we'll drill them. So yeah, I've showed these before. They just expand. So you just Put them down in there and square it up with the bottom. Make sure they're sitting flat. Flat as you can get them. I mean, these are clearance holes, so it doesn't really matter. But a couple light taps, and then I'll put a bigger punch when I get them out of this vise. Just some light punches that I can deepen. So this is very close to the cheapest drill press you can buy, but it still has an adjustable depth stop, so you can set it to get even deburrs, and it's simple to set. Just one screw on the collar, at least on this one anyway. So there they are, just temporarily installed really, so I don't lose them by the time I get this thing back together. Not worried about the finish or anything. This will be painted and it won't make a bit of difference. All of it will be painted other than the parts that this actually slides on, which is a small area there. So feel a lot better about making them new versus, you know, reusing these that are pretty badly worn and scorn, and, you know, a good excuse to use my equipment, which is the only reason I do this anyway. So there you go. I'm happy with those. I'm glad I made them. So I got the big blade guides in the shop. I was hoping to get them tore down this week, maybe start cleaning them up, but I'm out of time for sure. That's about as industrial, I think, as it gets. These things are ridiculously heavy, and the heaviest I've personally ever seen. Coolant through on each one that appears to go in between the shoes here are blade guides, and they look to be carbide. So much more saw than I'll ever need. But, you know, that hasn't stopped me from getting big equipment that I don't need in the past. I just look forward to getting this thing going, you know, bringing it back from the dead and seeing it cut, because it was destined for the scrapyard. So that's it. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, along with all the other guys and girls that you watch, because it does help. Subscribe to the channel. Helps us grow. Makes me feel good, which is nice. And I think that's it. So thanks to my viewers, patrons, and subscribers, like I always say. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.